right, welcome to the show. This is part 3 of our Power Hour podcast. So go back the last few weeks, listen to part 1 and part 2 to get yourself caught up and up to speed. We're going to dive into today's show. So here we go with part 3. Business, right? Business. We've got the final hour, final few minutes of the hour, and this will depend on how long I guess it took you to take some text messages, right? So we should somewhere around 45 minutes done. We should have 10 to 15 minutes you'll have left. This one's super easy, super easy. Inside of business, we're not trying to like change the world here during the power hour, but what we are going to do is we're going to educate ourselves on something that's relevant to us. Right. So as a business owner, guess what I know is relevant to every single one of you, or as it's period, end of story, which is marketing. So for me, that's usually what I'll do. I'll listen to a podcast. I'll do like some version of information that's going to come in, whether it's a book or a podcast. I really like Alex Hormozy. I think he's a cool dude. I think the way he speaks is cool, and I understand what he's saying. So I subscribe to his show. I'll just pull a podcast, listen to the podcast for about 10 minutes. And then when I have extracted a lesson from it, I will declare it, right? And this gets people all discombobulated because they're like, what do you mean declare it? Here's why that matters. I know many people who have listened to a book that was supposedly supposed to help them, and they've done absolutely nothing with it. Right, the principles that they learned inside of it, they just kind of fell to the wayside, and it never actually changed anything about them. We want to solve that problem, and that's how to declare. Because if you didn't learn something from what you listened to, then you won't have anything to declare. So we're shifting the focus. We're saying, hey, you're going to listen to something, right? Whatever that is. We'll just say it's Alex Hormozy's podcast. So I'm going to listen to that for about 10 minutes, and then I've got about 2 or 3 minutes left inside of my hour, right, to complete my power hour. This is when I will declare this. Sometimes I'll declare it to clients. Sometimes I'll declare it to my wife. My wife runs her own company as well, and so these marketing things are relevant to her. That's usually who will declare, and I'll have just say, hey, I learned this today. Yesterday, I actually shared a podcast with her, and I said, check this out. This is what I took from it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. All right, so it's very quick. It's again, 10, 15 minutes at the most, but you're learning something about business that you're in, something relevant to you, and then you're going to declare that to somebody. I know a lot of guys a lot of attorneys that will declare this to their team, right? Yeah. They'll learn something in law. They'll be, studying something that's relevant, and then they'll just send the message off to the team. Be like, hey, thought for the day.
Right? No, for me, I like to read, in this area, I do it in two flavors, I guess. One flavor is the legal part, right? I'm learning about, legals, and that's usually when I buy books from our killers and, personal injury who are just crushing it, and, the $1 million verdicts and, the huge techniques, and they're crushing it. I'll buy one of their books and I'll read it. And honestly, usually in about 10 pages, I can find something, some new techniques, some new thing I can try, and I can shoot that out to my senior attorneys. Sometimes I will, I'll send the idea out to some of my management team and say, hey, let's look at this issue, or let's try to work on this. And then I'll add it to my follow-up during my weekly meetings. Hey, let's talk about this issue, right? So I'm declaring something. I've got some kind of action item that I'm taking from this, either a trial technique or, or something we're going to use in pre-litigation to try to develop stuff, or if it's a management or how to run the business kind of thing, that's going to the executive team, right? And it also goes on my list to follow up on, right? Because I need that to make sure it comes up and we continue to discuss it. I'm not looking for 5 or 6 things. I'm looking for one, right? So my rule is generally, if I'm reading along and honestly, if it's been 5 minutes and I find something good that's actionable, I'm going to stop right there for me, because I don't want to go from today and have 6 ideas, because I can't handle 6 ideas all at once. I can handle one. And I mean, I had one thing, it was so awesome, but it took me forever because I felt like I was reading 2 pages a day, because, it was just packed full of stuff that I could go do. But the key is, you can't just read it for 2 pages, take your action item and throw it on a list and never do anything with it. That only worked for me because I was doing things. I mean, like when you read some of Russell Brunson's stuff on copy and all that, it's chock full of ideas. Well, slow it down in one idea. Or I've seen people read a business book on leadership, and they sort of summarize the 10 pages like you're talking about, or 10, 15 minutes, and then here's the overriding principle. So it's one or the other is what I would say.
Yeah. The whole point, though, is that you're intentionally focusing on learning something new about your business, right? Because I
Right.
think we sometimes get so caught up in the noise that we talked a ton about, we get overwhelmed, we get all these things going on inside of our game, and we stop learning and we stop progressing. It's like we've
Right.
hit some pinnacle. I've arrived. No, you haven't arrived. The world is always ever evolving, ever changing, and you want to do this in a place where it's. And what's so interesting is we kind of are wrapping up this fourth domain inside of the Power Hour. When you do this on all four domains on a consistent basis, what's so cool about it is you end up just feeling like a superstar.
You do.
It's really wild because you're like, I am freaking hitting on all cylinders. I'm crushing it here. Boom, boom, boom. Like you are coming into the world just super prepared. So even though each one of these by themselves isn't this huge, it's not changing the world by itself in one day. But when you compound that with, you're like, I made these deposits in all four domains and I'm doing it on a consistently every day. You literally just hold yourself better.
You
Like
do.
you come in with more confidence, everything.
Well, I mean, everything's on fire, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you've done your body, you've connected at home, you've connected to God and your creativity, and you've improved your business skills, right? Now, I think a lot of us who are running our own firms, it's great to study marketing, but if you study marketing all the time, a lot of times leads is not just your only issue, is what I would say, right?
No.
So it's easy to say just study marketing as a law firm owner, but unless that's mostly your role, we've got these other areas, right? You've got marketing, you've got systems and process, you've got leading your team, and then you've got the legal knowledge you've got to get. So that's the only thing I'm going to say there is you can't just stay in marketing as a lawyer because you got these other things. And honestly, whatever your biggest problem is probably where you ought to be spending your time, right? If it's leading your team, let's read a bunch on leadership. If it's
No.
unless it's reading about our winners, right? Our winners in the courtroom. These are the people that inspire us and make us see our clients as clients and not just as files. So I mean, there's a ton of value there as well. But if you're going to do the business side of it, which I don't disagree with, I do it. I think you got to float between marketing, between leadership, and between systems, and sort of do a rotation kind of deal.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's it.
it really depends on where's your struggle, where's your constraint, where are
Right.
you stuck as an
Yeah.
organization? Like, what is that, and what do you need to learn to develop through that? And sometimes that's really hard to do on your own. It is like we can only like we are in the weeds, so all we see is the weeds. This is what I've watched many lawyers and law firm owners like in that place because it's there was a statement I heard and I loved it. It was you don't have a scalable problem. What you have is a skillable problem.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
you can't see it, right? You actually can scale, but you don't have the skills to scale. And a lot of that's because you can't see what you need to work on. And that's really, I mean, if you look at if we boil up, or button up the power hour and we look at what this is designed to do, it's designed to put you in power, but it doesn't change the fact that we still sometimes get lost in our own space, which is why we offer up free trainings on site and at legaledgecoaching.com, which is why we do this show here. It's why we jump on calls and run free consultations with other attorneys to try to say, where are you actually stuck? Where are your skills diminished in a place? And that's where you can utilize the power hour to help you amplify those things, right? Whatever that may be. But it's having yourself in this connection, in this center with other people who have done it. I think one of the reasons what we're talking about works so well in just the idea of doing a power hour and then taking a step further, but doing it with others who are also doing it. You take yourself out of this isolated silo and you can put yourself in a place where you now have people that can cross check you. Right, Shane, if I know you're doing the power hour and I know I'm doing the power hour, then I know that when we get into a conversation, I'm not dealing with sleepy eye coffee Shane,
Right.
right? And you're not dealing with sleepy eye coffee Trevor. And so
No,
when we have conversations in different perspective, we can actually help each other both grow and expand equally in that environment. And that's really what we focus on here inside the Legal Edge. What we wanted to do in today's show was just to give you the basic foundation of, hey, what is this idea of this power hour? And
right.
not get wrapped up in, hey, here's the this morning routine that's going to be this crazy ridiculous thing. No, it will evolve over time with you. What doesn't evolve is the framework inside of it. We invest in body, being, balance, and business. What those things may be, they'll change, right? They will change and evolve. And that's what makes this a kind of an evergreen process. That once you've mastered this hour, you're starting your day in power, and that changes over time. And then it allows you to go forward and kind of do your thing. So If you want you want some content where you can dive much deeper into this, we've got some free trainings over at legaledgecoaching.com. Where you can jump in there, get inside a membership area for free. We're just giving it to you. We put some recordings and some programs together that will help you implement this. There's some cool PDFs, printouts that you can have access to that will allow you to implement this stuff that we're talking about today right now, right? And so you can start to see the results and everything that's coming from that. And then just realizing that the everything that it is that you do, everything that you come up with, everything you accomplish in this life, right? It's going to require you to kind of let go of some of the old patterns and habits that you have, right? You're overwhelmed. I get it. Shane, you've been overwhelmed. I've been overwhelmed. And it's through these simple processes that we're talking about today that allow you to start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? This is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, this is like that thin layer of the foundation. We're like, right? And then we can actually start to at least accomplish or try to build upon that. So if you got value from today's show, please share it up with others who you know will get value from it too inside of this space, because we can all do from a powerful morning and a powerful power hour, right? To get us in that place of power. So go ahead and share this show up. We appreciate that. And also, like I said, head over to our website, legaledgecoaching.com, where you can get access to the free training, get inside of our network, and have conversations with Shane and I about how you can take your firm and your life to the next level and get out of this overwhelmed, to get out of the chaos and get out of this place where you just feel like there's no other options to turn. Both Shane and I have built lives around this. We've built businesses around this. We know it works. We're not teaching you or talking about anything that's in theory. Everything that we talk about here, same things on the website and all of the trainings, it's the literal roadmap that Shane's used, that I've used to actually build the lives that we have now. And this is what we want to give you, and we want to give it to you for free. So any final thoughts you got for us, Shane?
No, the only thing I'd say is every time I get overwhelmed and off kilter, I go back and go to my most basic power hour routine and start again. And that's what I would say. So it definitely works 100%. And my advice is start as soon as you hear this. Start the next day and give it 30, 60 days. And if it didn't work for you, okay, but I know it will work.
Yeah, it will for sure. Don't trust us, test us. Go make it happen. And you get, like I said, you can get some downloadable stuff over at legaledgecoaching.com, which will help you implement what we talked about today. So appreciate you guys being listeners of today's show. Have a fantastic rest of your day.